This is SMS Life. Sound mind, sound life. In each podcast, we have something invaluable to share with you. In this podcast, let's explore the principle of functional autonomy from psychology perspective. Before we deep dive, I have something to ask. In your walks of life, you have come across a person who started working hard in their 15, 20 and 25. That makes sense because they don't have many things to attain and they're going for it. But they don't stop working hard even if they have everything at 50 and 60. And now let us explore why that happens. A young man from a humble background enters the business world and works with almost superhuman energy. By the time he is 60, he is successful and rich. Yet he continues to work as hard as ever. He may work himself into an early grave or in the attempt to keep enlarging his business, lose everything he has made. His hard work as a young man is easy to understand. We can assume that he had strong motives for achievement and certainty. But by 60, he is more successful and powerful than he probably had ever hoped. And he has more money than he can possibly spend. Why then should he continue to work so hard? The explanation seems to lie in a principle formulated by psychologist Gordon W. Allport, who had termed it functional autonomy. The principle holds that an activity that is originally a means to an end frequently acquires an independent function of its own and becomes an end in itself. This may be confusing, let me break it down. The businessman starts out by working hard to gratify his motives for success and security. But eventually, the desire to work hard becomes a motive in its own right. His old motive has been transformed into a new one, which has a self-perpetuating power of its own. Some other examples have been cited by Allport. A woman does not particularly like or want children. She doesn't possess the motive to nurture children that is commonly called maternal love. Nonetheless, she treats her children well and lovingly because of various other motives centering around the approval of her neighbors and living up to her own standards of how a mother is supposed to behave. Eventually, as she practices devotion to her children, she begins to find that this is a valuable end in itself. The desire to nurture her children acquires functional autonomy. A man who makes custom-built furniture sets himself high standards of workmanship because he believes that this will bring him success and wealth. In later years, he finds that this kind of workmanship is actually reducing his income because it takes more time than his customers are willing to pay for. But he continues to do a good job because the desire for craftsmanship has become a motive in itself. The principle of functional autonomy appears to account for many human activities that seem far removed from the biological drives and stimulus needs and often do not even seem to serve any useful purpose. Desires that have acquired functional autonomy explain why the miser yearns for money he will never spend. The puzzle addict cannot sleep unless he has solved the day's crossword, and the Englishman dresses for dinner. So at least legend has it, even in the jungle. Requirements for behavior. Of all the factors that complicate the relationship between motives and behavior, however, the most important is simply this. Even when a motivational disposition is strong and the motive is easily and frequently aroused to the active state, there still may be no effect whatsoever on behavior. A motive leads to goal-related behavior only when certain requirements are met. The requirements can be listed as below. 1. Knowledge of how to satisfy the motive. 2. Incentive. 3. Expectation of success. We will explore all these points in the next podcast. Thanks for listening.